Boys shouldn't cry. So we have this meme that's allegedly belonging to toxic masculinity that is about boys not crying. And we have the gynocentric view of the female, the mother, going, "Oh, you cruel men, telling boys not to cry. Get away with you, you bad men, you toxic men. Come to mummy and cry. You ignore those nasty old men. Come to mummy. She'll tell you how to grow up to be a nice boy, nice man, and she'll treat you well. You come and you cry with mummy." And the boy runs to mummy because there's no challenge there. Now, I don't know about you, but certainly to me, nobody that I know of ever said boys shouldn't cry when they're at home with mum. Maybe that was around in the 50s, maybe it was still residual in the early 70s, but certainly I haven't seen much of it in my lifetime. Now, and certainly not socially, that's for sure. There's been absolutely the opposite about men learning to pour their feelings out. And yet still, even with that backdrop, we still have men killing themselves at the rate of 84 a day in this country. Suicide is still the #1 cause of death in men under 50. And they have had plenty of space and opportunity and permission to talk about their feelings. So why are they killing themselves? Because the issue for men is not about talking about their feelings. That is not how things get solved. That is a female coping strategy, which is why you'll find it's women and femi-men that are promoting that method. So that line, that old man's tale of boys shouldn't cry, is not about when you are in the safety of home with mummy and your wife and your children. It is about when you are at the edge, when you are at the boundary, when you are called upon to defend and serve and protect that which you love and that which is vulnerable and fragile, your home, your livestock, your crops, your family. It's under those conditions that boys shouldn't cry. Because when dark, wanting, taking forces come to that which is beautiful and safe and true that you've created, if you cannot take charge of your feelings, if you cannot temper your fear, your gasps, your tears, if you cannot channel them into a charge that allows you to stand strong despite the massive sensitivity of your balls telling you everything that is going on and telling you all the risks, if you can't stand and temper that, and instead you collapse and cry, then the next thing you will hear is the screams of your women, children and friends, and the smell of your burning crops and livestock. It's oh so easy for people protected by the state and by countries created by men who understood these principles and who stood there and bit back their tears as they stood strong to make the nations you also scorn and dismiss now. It's easy to say you don't need such men under the conditions where you are wrapped in the creations of those men. You are wrapped in their legal processes. You are wrapped in their safe structures. You are wrapped in their waterproof garments. You are wrapped in their tools of defense and their gifts that they have given you that you so casually seek to throw away in your ignorance and your insolence and your naivety. The men take boys to the edge so they can learn how not to cry when there are screams of fear and terror and the unknown of the night before them. That is what the training of men is for. Not for whether he can cry with his mum or his wife. And it's only because we have fools leading the media on this. We have femi-men, men who deny there is such a thing as a role for men, and gynocentric women who are wrapped in the gifts of previous men to the point that they can't even see them anymore, that are causing the problems for the young men now. And these young men grow up unable to take charge of the sensitivity of the data coming from their balls, because they're being taught to handle it like women. And women cannot face charge in the same way as men do, because their balls are buffered by their body cavity and all the organs in it. So the data they get is not the same. It's false equivalence, false comparison, and frankly is leading all the people going down that way to doom.